what is happening in the Toronto real estate market for condos, Toronto downtown condos? What is going on there, and what do you forecast happening within that market over the next 5 years?
Okay, so to understand the condo market, you have to understand how we got here. How we got here is in 2020, 2021, 2022, we sold about 50,000 high-rise units, okay? Those units are all now ready for occupancy and closing. And so all of that inventory is hitting the marketplace now. When you look at the occupancy fees, you look at the rates, you look at the rentals, most investors are negative cash flow right now. But they don't have an option, because if you hit the market to sell, and that's why we're seeing an influx in the amount of inventory, people are trying to sell, but it's not really working out. So oftentimes the landlord's out of pocket after paying, for example, maintenance, taxes, insurance, and all of the other stuff that goes into owning an investment. You're negative on a cash flow perspective. And so the landlords are now kind of torn, because you can't offload the asset without taking a huge hit. And you see that some of those landlords that have that appetite, they're assigning their units even before they have to close if they're able to. And I've seen at my law office, people walk away from $200,000 in deposits just to make sure that they don't have to close. And that's a cost of doing business as far as they're concerned. Right? So you've got this landscape now where this is happening. But I think the other part of the picture that a lot of people are missing, so 2020, 2021, 2022, 50,000 units, those are all coming up now. 2023, 2024, we sold collaboratively like 15,000 units. What we really sold is zero. Why? Because all of the units that have been sold, the 4,000 and change last year, the 11,000 and change the year before, none of those are actually going to be developed, because most of those builders, unless you're loaded, they don't have 400 million laying around to just put up a concrete building. And so the reality is that although we've sold 15,000 units in 2 years, none of those are going to get constructed. None of those builders are going to obtain financing. And there's less of an incentive to bring those units to the market now. So projects are getting canceled. And we see that happening, right? Where we've sold things and now we get notification that the unit's canceled or whatever it is. So that is an interesting reality. And what happens now is that this inventory that's hitting the market will get absorbed by 2026, 2027. It'll get absorbed. But by 2028, 2029, we're going to hit a cliff because we're undersupplied, right?
Sure.
Statistically speaking, from what I know and what I've heard, and I listen to all kinds of people talk about these topics, by 2030, we're 5 million homes short. Keep in mind that 1970s was our peak building in this country. Now we've pared down the actual immigration numbers as well. So we're not bringing in as many people. The 1.2 million people that entered this country in the last couple of years is what kept everything afloat. So that's being pared down a little bit. It's not insignificant, but these would-be condo investors were banking on the immigration to occupy those units.